I want to make a video about the reasons for not staying in UK. And these things stood out to me. First of all, the trade. Economists and analysts generally assess the impact of leaving EU, Single Market and Customs Union of the 1st of January 2021 on the UK's good trade as having been negative. UK, with this action, lost many negotiation deals from being a part of Europe. Second of all, immigration. Immigration in UK was a key theme in 2016 and it keeps staying relative. And the center of free movement inside the EU by UK citizens. They could freely, before 2021, they could freely move to visit, study, work, live in any European country. 1.2 million long-term immigrants arrived in UK in the year 2024. That was at the end of June. And almost 500,000 moved from UK, they immigrated to other places. In that, 500,000 included 79,000 British citizens, 211 European citizens, and 189 non-European citizens. The free travel affected also UK and basically the freedom of movement. It also affected the tourists in UK and business travels. Now let's move to laws. Legal sovereignty, the ability of the UK to make its own laws, the European ones. It was another basic problem from the Brexit, and it was promised from the UK government that this will change and will affect positively for the British. Then we move to money. The money the UK sent to Europe was a controversial theme back in 2016. Particularly, the Leave campaign claimed that the UK sent 350 million to Brussels. And with UK leaving the Europe, they lost many things through that money. For example, now Europe spends a lot of money for defense. And this problem moves to millionaires leave the UK. The millionaires, the wealthy people of UK, bring along forex revenue and eventually create an attractive economy, and also it helps with their own circle to talk the country up to other millionaires and bring more people, more rich people in the country. And this works as a benefit to everyone. Right now, the crime rate...
The whole nation is shocked by the rape gang scandal. Thousands of young teenage girls systematically raped over years by men of predominantly Pakistani heritage. Girls like Jane, who was repeatedly gang raped at the age of just 12. The police found her being abused by an illegal immigrant. But instead of arresting the illegal immigrant, they arrested her. That is sick. The last government took action by setting up the wider J inquiry and the Grooming Gangs Task Force. But the truth is, that is not enough. There is now clear evidence that those in authority covered up these rapes because the perpetrators were mainly of Pakistani heritage. Last week, I met retired Detective Chief Inspector John Pecos. In Bradford, he witnessed the abuse of a young girl in a car, but he was then instructed by a Chief Superintendent to drop the matter to avoid antagonising Bradford's Muslim community. Covering up the rape of young girls for that reason is one of the most immoral things I have ever heard. Yet not a single person, not one, has ever been held to account for these cover-ups. That is why we need a national statutory public inquiry which can compel production of evidence. Even last year, authorities in Manchester were still covering up, leading to the chairs of the local Manchester inquiry to resign. 5 local inquiries, which can't compel the production of evidence, just won't do. 50 towns are affected, not 5. And Bradford, where some of the worst abuse occurred, is refusing to cooperate with any inquiry at all. So there won't be an inquiry in Bradford because their council is refusing to participate. Now, Mr. Speaker, the Home Secretary promised on the 16th of January that Baroness Casey would complete a rapid audit within 3 months. Well, 3 months has now passed and we have heard nothing whatsoever. Almost there. The government said there would be 5 local inquiries, but we know nothing about 4 of them, and the man charged with setting them up, Tom Crowther, said to the Home Affairs Committee on the 1st of this month that he had been sidelined by the minister over there and, quote, did not know what was going on. Now finally, Mr. Speaker, I recently met Marlon West, whose daughter was trafficked, abused and raped by mainly Asian men, including in Bradford. He said this government should be ashamed of themselves and they should hold a national inquiry. Jane, who was trafficked and gang raped at 12, also wants a statutory national inquiry. Labour Mayor Andy Burnham, Harriet Harman and the Labour MP for Rotherham all agree. So will the Minister do what they and Marlon and Jane are all begging for and hold that national...
Is at the highest, especially in London. It's 47.4%, and it keeps rising. If you research crime in the UK or in London, something always pops up. Every day something hideous is happening. From what I have searched so far, we need to say here that is the only logical thing for the white to be the highest percent, because they are the majority of the country. We also top-end research ethnicities in the UK, and I will make the same claim. And the last one is Crown Court bails and custody. And here is the percent of crime rate per thousand all over UK. As we can see here is that the crime rate is higher than before the virus, the 2 years of lockdown. Also, we have the percent of homicides in UK from 2019 to 2022. Also, the offences. UK and most of Europe has a house crisis. Cause of impact and solutions. UK housing crisis causes impact. The scale of housing crisis, house shortfall drives low affordability. The consequences are unaffordable housing, declining of ownership, pressure of the rental market, economical inequality, overcrowding, pressure on social housing. Homelessness in UK is at 26%. And here's the issue. Why UK can't build more homes? Several government policy shortcomings have exacerbated the UK's housing crisis. For example, the UK planning system creates barriers to the house building. Poorly resourced local authority planning departments, complex regulations opposite from the local residents, green belt restrictions, lack of or inconsistent local plans, making planning decisions very difficult. Something that is not only in the UK, but also all around Europe. Next one is education. Yes, it is free. We live also in a time that a good education doesn't guarantee a good house, a good salary. Privilege and countries need more labor hands, such as carpenters, builders, and these kinds of jobs. May be even better than having a good degree or PhD or even a doctorate. That is because it's a very competitive market for everyone. In UK you have pretty good workers' right, but this is only if you are a legal resident of UK or if you have a visa. And doesn't matter what kind of job you do, you will get paid. Also, UK have many museums and galleries, and they are free for the citizens. And thank God for Great Britain, because they stole so many things from all over the world, and now they can use their museums to attract more tourists. Another one is the nature. Outside of London, the landscapes are beautiful and the small villages are something unique. The most important of all, cheap phone bills. Okay, this was a joke. But here's the thing. If you want to move to UK, do a good research. I'm not saying that it's not a good idea or a good idea to move in Britain. But the last few years, Britain has changed. Do your own research and have always a second plan that you might not like living over there. But at the end of the day, you decide if it's a good idea to move in the UK. I don't know.
Be better.